Most homeowners think the biggest threat to losing a home is missing the mortgage. But in some communities, a much smaller bill can start a real danger. The HOA, a missed HOA payment, an unpaid fine, a ridiculous violation letter you decide to ignore. That is how some homeowners end up with a lien on their property and, in serious cases, a foreclosure threat. I'm Cathy Sabater, mortgage strategist, and in today's real estate rules, risk, and loopholes, we're breaking down how a small HOA problem can spiral into a much bigger legal and financial mess, and what to do before it does. This usually does not start with a giant financial collapse. It starts small. A homeowner gets a $100 fine for something like trash cans, parking, weeds, or a rule they think is petty. They get angry. They decide not to pay it. That is where the trap begins. In many HOA communities, the association may apply any payment you send to fines and late fees first, and your regular dues second. That means you may think you paid your normal monthly HOA bill, but on their books, you may now be short on your dues. Then the late fee gets added, then interest, then legal fees, then collection costs. So what started as a $100 dispute can snowball into a much bigger balance. That is how many people get blindsided, not because the first amount was huge. They underestimated how fast the problem can grow once the HOA started escalating. That is the part many homeowners never see coming. They think, they're fighting a small fine. Legally, they may now be treated as delinquent. Once that happens, the association may have the power to send formal collection notices, record a lien, and in some cases move towards foreclosure. Now, that does not mean every late HOA payment leads to foreclosure. It does not mean every HOA is aggressive. It does mean the power exists and homeowners need to understand, and they need to understand that before they ignore the wrong letter. So when people panic and ask, can they really take my house over a small HOA balance? The uncomfortable answer is, in some situations, yes. An HOA is not just a neighborhood rulebook. It is a legal and financial governing body when you buy into that particular community. You are also agreeing to the CC&Rs, the conditions, the covenants, and restrictions. These rules and financial obligation is tied to home ownership. That is why ignoring the HOA is so dangerous. The issue is not always the original fine. The real danger is the chain reaction, the unpaid balance, late fees, legal fees, collections, lien, and then possible foreclosure risk. That is how a small problem becomes a serious one. Now, exact timelines, foreclosure rules, notice requirements, and homeowner protections, they vary by state. So this video is general educational information, not legal advice. The larger lesson is clear. An HOA can have far more power than most homeowners realize. So, what should you do if this is happening? Well, step number one, do not ignore the notices. That is the biggest mistake. The longer you wait, the more expensive and the bigger the problem usually becomes. Do not ignore letters. Do not ignore email warnings. Do not assume you will deal with it later because later usually costs more money. Step number 2, get a full breakdown of what is owed. You want to know the original dues or fine, late fees, interest, legal fees, collection costs, and anything else that has been added. You cannot solve the problem clearly if you do not know the real total. Step number 3, communicate early. Ask whether a payment plan is available. Ask whether the matter has already been referred to collections or legal counsel. Ask what the next escalation step is if the balance is not resolved. The earlier you deal with it, the more options you usually have. Step number 4, do not let pride put your house at risk. A lot of homeowners get stuck here. They are angry. They feel targeted. They think the fine is stupid. Sometimes they may even be right. But protecting your house matters more than winning the argument the wrong way. Sometimes the smarter strategy is to protect the asset first and fight and dispute second. That may mean paying under protest to stop the balance from snowballing while you challenge the issue through the proper process. Protecting your $800, $600, $500,000 asset is more important than losing it over a $200 fight. Step number 5, understand the HOA before you buy. If you are buying into an HOA, do not just ask about the monthly fee. Ask what happens if an owner pays late, how are fines handled, when can a lien be filed, has the HOA had recent collection issues, are owners behind on dues, are there special assessments coming? Small HOA bills become more dangerous in communities that are aggressive, underfunded, or already under financial stress. That is the kind of thing buyers need to know before they close, not after. If you can review the CC&Rs, covenant, conditions, and restrictions, the fine or collection policy, the budget and reserves, the meeting minutes. That is where you find the real story. Here's the bigger lesson. An HOA may help maintain the community. It can also create serious legal and financial risk for homeowners who do not understand what they are agreeing to, or who underestimate what can happen when dues, fines, or assessments go unpaid. That is why buying in an HOA is not just about whether the neighborhood looks nice. It is also about whether the rules, fee structure, collection process, and enforcement culture makes sense for your life and your budget. So before you buy in an HOA, ask harder questions. If you're already owning one, do not ignore warning signs just because the problem started out small. In real estate, small unpaid obligations can become big legal problems much faster than people expect. I'm Cathy Sabater, and this is the Real Estate Rules, Risks, and Loopholes. If you want more homeowner warnings, mortgage strategy, and real estate risks buyers need to know to understand before they sign, subscribe, and stay connected. Next, we're covering unpermitted trap because what looks like an extra value can quickly become a financing, appraisal, insurance, or resale problem.